Hi, it's Johnny. I just want to tell you guys a story. It's from a while ago. It's been about, I don't know, maybe a decade or so. But uh, I guess I'll start off with I had this friend. Uh, his name was Mike, and him and I worked together. We're both Christians, uh, Pentecostal Christians, and we decided on our own to like start walking around and praying for people, random people, or praying over spots, or prayer walking certain areas, whatever we felt like doing. We always pray before we leave, and then do what we had to do. I felt and go where we felt we needed to go. Um, but this one time, this is I don't know. I was probably like 20, 25. I'm 33 now, but I was probably 25 years old, and we decided just one day, you know what, let's just go to Casadega, Florida, because it's known for witchcraft, um, good and bad, or whatever you believe in. I think it's all bad. Just the people that think it's good just don't know that it's bad, but that's my point of view. We decided to go there and just prayer walk the entire area of Casadega, Florida. Um, so we did. We didn't get any protection or from other people praying for us. We just decided to do this on a whim. Let's just go. Let's just go right into the lion's den. Let's just go prayer walk the entire town. So that's what we did. Me and him on our day off from work. Me and him were coworkers. He was actually one of my assistant managers at the time, and so on our day off, we went and I met at his house. We prayed, and then we went to Casadega, drove there. It was a spiritualism city, and we parked and we just walked around and we prayed out loud, verbally, while we're walking around the entire town. And then I grew up near there, so I knew there was a something called a Satan's chair in a graveyard in Casadega. So I told him about that. So we went to the Satan's chair, and we just, whether it was real or not, it could have just been people just making it up just to get publicity for the city or something. I don't know. But we went there anyways, and we prayed over the chair in the graveyard, and that was one of our stops in the city while we were praying. And as we were leaving the graveyard, my buddy Mike, he said he looked and he saw like a demon like in the graveyard, like a while down. He showed me. He pointed out where. I didn't see anything. I saw nothing. But he swore he saw it. I didn't, but I was like, all right, it's fine. Well, let's just keep going. So we left the graveyard because it was close to. It was dusk, so it was getting dark in it, and it closes at a certain time. But we continued to prayer walk, and then I felt like um, we were walking through like the main street of that town, Casadega, and I felt like I had a strong pull towards this house. It was like a medium's house, like the spiritual people, and it was like a picnic table with an umbrella up there in the front yard. And I told Mike, I said I felt led just to sit at this table and see what happens. So we did, and he agreed. So we did, and this was on someone's property. It was at their house, so it was their business and their house. You could tell. So I just sat there. We both sat there at the table, and then about 30 seconds later, um, I, the owner of the house pulls up in the driveway. Literally that quick. It was like we sat down, waited 30 seconds. Here it comes. Car pulls in, pulls up, and he walks up to us and says, "You're here for a reading?" We're like, "No." I said, "I was just felt." I said, "I felt I needed to be here for a reason." And I said, "Do you mind if we pray with you?" And he said, "Yeah, not at all. Not a problem at all." And then he told us a little background on himself and everything. We told him about us and everything. And he believed in Jesus and all this, but he was kind of, his views were a little skewed. It was kind of messed up. But anyways, so we all held hands in his front yard. All three of us, me, Mike, and this guy. He was a warlock or whatever. But we all held hands, and I started praying. I prayed what was I felt in my heart, and then Mike prayed as well. And as we're holding hands, I felt this dude's hand. He started shaking, just like shaking, like he didn't like it. Like, he was just shaking, like he couldn't take it. And then while we're still praying, Mike was still going praying. He said, "All right, that's enough." He stopped. He let go of her hand. He said, "That's enough. We're done here." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Well," I told him, "I was well, hope you have a blessed day." Blah 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 blah. And then he said, he's like, "All right." He told me and Mike, he's like, "Do not go to that house over there." And he pointed in the direction like west of his house, like at the end of the road. There was like an isolated house, and we asked him why. He said it's because there's a real witch that lives there. I was like, "What do you mean by real witch?" He said, "Well, he said she has no good intentions. She's a real witch." I was like, "All right, okay, no, thanks for the advice." And then we let him go and we left. And what do? Our dumbasses go and we walk towards that house. We went all there prideful. We felt like God's got our back. We're good. We're prideful. Nothing can hurt us. So we went to that house, but we didn't go in the yard because we saw when we got to on the road in front of our house, we saw a lady sitting on her porch, just old lady. She was in a rocking chair. She had long gray hair. She was rocking back and forth, and she saw us, and we saw her. We met. We had eye contact, and the gate was closed. We weren't walking up to someone's random's house, especially after what we just heard. So we decided to put our hands from the street as she's looking at us. We put our hands towards her like this from the street and just prayed audibly out loud for her and against anything. I forget the exact prayers. It was a long time ago, but prayed against evil spirits and just the work of the devil and everything basically. And as we're praying, she stands up out of her chair when she's on our porch, and she looks at us and she puts her hands out right at us and does the same thing. I don't hear what she's saying. She's probably like a good, I don't know, 100 feet away. The driveway is a little far away, but yeah, she did the same exact thing. It was she put her hands up. She started muttering words back to us. No idea what she said, but we just after that we felt like we did a good thing. We felt accomplished, and we left. So, anyways, not long after that, um, let's skip a couple years. A couple years go by. I've never been anxious about anything in my entire life. I've always been super confident in everything I've done. Um, but um, I'll start with this. My friend Mike, he got very paranoid for a while. He got into like Sasquatches and like Bigfoots and stuff, and it got really strange. Um, and I met him for lunch one day at I forget the name of the restaurant. But anyways, I met him for lunch there, and he was just so paranoid. He told me he's met with several Bigfoots in the woods. He's seen them. He's talked to them. He's communicated with them. He said there's nice ones, there's evil ones, and there's bad ones. He said it depends who you talk to, and I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? And he told me where to find them and everything. You got to go with me. He's like, you got to go in these nature trails with me. You got to see. He's like, you don't believe me, dude. He was very paranoid. It seemed like he was almost seemed like he was on like some kind of crazy drugs. He was that paranoid. He was like, sweating and everything. But he was different. He was just different. And but and I didn't want to offend him because I knew he was serious about this. And I was like, all right, dude, I'll go with you. I'll go. We'll go to your trails, and I'll go Bigfoot hunting with you. It's fine. We'll go. It's no problem. And he's like, you don't believe me. I was like, no, no, it's fine. I have open mind. Let's go see him. You said you talked to him. Let's go. Let's go see him. So sure enough, we 2 days later, he takes me out on his nature trail in Florida. It's just us there. It's like a national reserve, like a trail you like run around and everything. And I felt really uncomfortable around him because I just he seemed a little paranoid, and he was different. He was different than he ever was that I've known him to be. And but anyways, I went with him anyways because he was a good friend of mine. And so we were walking on these trails, and he's telling me about all this stuff, and he keeps telling me, "Oh, you don't believe me. You don't believe me. You don't believe me." And I was like, "Dude, I'm not." I was like, "I've never said I don't believe you. I'm here to experience it with you. I'm cool." I was like, "I'm here, ain't I? It's fine. It's cool." I was like, "Even if we don't see anything, doesn't mean I don't believe you, but I'm here to entertain it. So it's okay." He just seemed really paranoid for some reason. But anyways, and we're taking pictures, and he's making calls in the woods and everything. And he's telling me, "Oh, they're not coming out because you're new. They don't know you. They don't know who you are. So that's why they're not showing up. They're afraid of you." I'm like, "What?" I didn't say that to him because honestly, I was kind of freaked out by the way he was behaving. I didn't know if he just lost it upstairs. I don't know what was going on with him. So I just kind of kept it to myself. I was like, "Yeah, yeah." I kind of played into it. It's like, "Yeah, yeah, you're probably right." Because I didn't want him to think out that I thought he was crazy because I didn't know what he would do. You know what I mean? But so I kind of entertained him the entire time until we left. And then eventually, after that, it was such a strange experience with him that entire trip that I just decided I'm not going to hang out with him anymore after that because he was weird. He was completely different. And then I get random texts from him for I think probably the next month and a half. One of the texts I got from him was like one of the last texts I ever got from him was he was telling me that the government was after him because he knows things that he's not supposed to know about Bigfoot and stuff. And I was okay. He's like, take care of you and your family. They know you were with me. And I'm like, all right. I was like, I'll take care of them. Next thing, if next news I hear about him is his wife worked with my dad at the same business my dad works at, and my dad tells me that they found him dead in one of these trails in Daytona. There's like these back trails in between Daytona and DeLand in the woods. He was back there by himself, and he was in his car, and he had a shotgun. And he had blown his head off. He committed suicide. He'd blown his head off, and that's how they found him. Well, that's what the police say. They said they don't know what happened, but there's no other traces of anything else explaining the fact but him blowing his head off. So the only thing we have is that he possibly committed suicide. We don't know, but that's the only thing the police can come up with. Um, And this was like not too long after our whole excursion into this Casadega thing. But and then he went nuts. I think, I don't know. Maybe he was tormented by demons. I don't know what happened. But it was, soon after that he was dead from an apparent suicide. He was a good friend of mine. Soon after that, I started having anxiety issues. I didn't know it at the time. I thought I had heart problems. I was at work. I went via ambulance to the hospital because like I was having heart palpitations that it would feel like a jolt to my heart, and then it would beat really fast, just really fast, and I'd get really lightheaded and really dizzy and start sweating. So I thought I was dying. I went to the hospital probably about 20 times for the next 2 years, not knowing what the hell was wrong with me. Because every time I went to the hospital, the doctor said there's nothing wrong with me. Until one of the doctors finally told me, hey, look, I think you have anxiety. And I'm like, what the heck is anxiety? I heard people talk about it in the past. I thought it was just a way for people to get attention. I thought it was fake. But no, it's definitely real because I deal with it on a I wouldn't say on a daily basis now, but it's very frequent, and I deal with it a lot to the point now that I have to have medication for it. But that anxiety has caused a lot of you know anguish, um, depression, uh, you know, a lot of mental problems, a lot of mental struggles. I'm not I'm not I'm not the kind of person to quit. I pray through my issues. I always will. But it's been a mental struggle for the past, I don't know, 10 years maybe. It's been horrible. But thank God my God is here with me and getting me through this one day at a time. I'll go months without having any issues. And then I'll go a few days having five, six, seven panic attacks within a couple days. And they're bad to the point I'm laying on the ground. I don't know what to do. And I'm praying for this to stop. It's off and on. So, kind of looking back on everything with what I've dealt with and my buddy, my past, I think, and I can't say this for sure. It's not. I'm just trying to put the pieces of the puzzles together, but I'm not saying this is the absolute fact. But I think we should never have went to Casadega in the lion's den without God's covering and blessing, or God's people, or other people covering us in prayer and just challenging, you know, demonic forces basically to their face and gloating, prideful, and expecting to be unharmed from all this. Um, I don't want to. No, I don't want to say. I don't want to give glory. No, I'm not going to say this. No, I'm not going to say that. I just believe there might be a connection between those events. And I just want to put out a warning, whether you are a Christian, non Christian, or atheist, or whatever you believe in. Be careful what you deal with, and do not dare the unknown, what you believe it is or whatever it isn't. If you think it's not real, don't dare it. If you believe it is real, do not dare it. Only go where God tells you to go with His blessing and His people praying for you and His coverage, because it's nothing to mess with. I regret that day for my friend and all the issues I've dealt with in the past decade. It's caused me to have so many fears. I've never been a fearful person, but I've become antisocial. Um, I can't. I'm not. I'm scared of. I'm scared of freaking everything. I'm scared of meeting new people, talking to new people. I don't know what to say to new people. I have to know you in order to actually have a conversation with you because I'm so awkward. I'm scared of flying. I'm scared of uh, authority figures. All these new fears have just risen up in me. I have so many fears. It's like completely gripped my life, and I just, and only medication calms me down because that anxiety is so strong that it sends me into panic attacks. And when those panic attacks come, it's so overpowering. I'm like incapacitated. I can't do anything but escape. I gotta escape, separate myself from everyone just to breathe and calm down. Because I know if I have a panic attack in front of people, it makes it worse because everyone's like, "Oh, are you okay? What can we do? What can we do?" All this and that. It makes it worse. I can't deal with that. I have to separate myself from society, and it's become a real burden. And I'm working through it day by day, step by step. But I would just warn everybody: be careful when you try to deal with demonic forces or things of evil and without God's covering. You have power over the devil and demons. You do with your spirit. If God is living within you, the Holy Spirit, you have power. But that does not mean you walk into their land and challenge them pridefully without God's blessing. You don't do that. Think I've learned a lesson the hard way. But thank God He's still here with me. Thank God my soul is saved. But I won't ever do that again unless He tells me to. That's for sure. That's the end of this story. Y'all have a good night and go to bed. God bless.